Hi, my name is May and I like to read. Can you imagine by my username? Thanks for checking out my video. I am creating this as like a summer TBR kind of video. Ideally, for my channel, I'd like to start doing more reviews. I just read books pretty quickly, and as far as creating videos based on my reviews and actually remembering everything that I read, it's a little tough making these videos. Hopefully in the future I get used to vlog style videos where I can, splice a bunch of pictures together and take more videos throughout my days as I'm reading. But I think for right now, I just want to start with TBRs. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 books that I'm hoping to get to for the summertime. And I do tend to read a lot more than that. For the most part, at all times, I'm always reading a physical book, a ebook, as well as an audiobook. So I do tend to go through my audiobooks quite quickly. So those tend to be the quickest ones just because I listen to them on my way to work or doing chores or whatnot. But I do have a ton of physical books that I'd like to go through, as well as I just like reading on a Kindle sometimes. But these are just physical books that I have here. I'm not including my ebooks or audiobooks just because they change so frequently. I am a mood reader. So again, that's why I'm sticking to just, I think it's 12 that I have here as a hopeful TBR, as I am such a mood reader. If I don't feel like reading a thriller book at the time, I won't. Or if I won't feel like reading a fantasy romance, I won't. So these are my options. But I think with just the 12, I think I should be good to get through these throughout the summer. So let's just start off with the first one. This is Holly Jackson's A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This book is about a young woman who was nixed by her boyfriend at the time, and then he nixed himself. And Pip is the main character here. For her senior project, I think it's her senior project, she decides to relook into the case because the entire scandal, I guess you could call it, is still affecting her small town. So to kind of figure out what happened, she looks into it. I've heard nothing but great things about this. It is a YA murder mystery thriller. Lately, I've been in the mood for these kinds of books. I recently read One of Us is Lying, and I'm now watching the show, and I'm just full force in that vibe right now. Next up, I have The Last Party by Clare Mackintosh. And this book sounds really good, murder mystery, thriller vibes. I got this a while ago. It did come out a while ago. I just never picked it up. And I just think like the vibes of the cover, as well as the entire storyline, will fit right in to summer thriller mystery type of vibes. So this is about a man who has a party at his, I think, lake house or something like that, his vacation home. And it says by the end of the night, Reese is found floating in the lake or the pool. Reese will be floating dead in the freezing waters of the lake. And Fian is one of his neighbors, I guess, from my assumption. It's just a small like vacation community. One of his neighbors, what I would assume, is trying to figure out who ended up nixing him. So sounds really awesome, like really good thriller. It's quite a hefty book. I think it's clocking in at about 400 pages. I like a hefty thriller. I do tend to worry sometimes with thrillers if they could be shortened, but hopefully this one is packed full of all the necessary information. It's a worthy 400-page read, so really excited to read this one. Yeah, it just sounds right up my alley. I haven't heard anything about this author before, nor have I heard a lot about this book, but It's a book of the month book. That's where I got it from. And I just think they do a really good job of picking books. Not sponsored at all. Next up, we have the TikTok darling author Emily Henry with Book Lovers. So Book Lovers is about a woman. Her name is Nora. She ends up moving to North Carolina, and she's a big book lover. And she starts working in a little bookstore, but she keeps running into this editor who is just like really like moody and kind of grumpy. And they end up developing a relationship. I think if I remember correctly, it's low-key enemies to lovers or rivals to lovers. Essentially, they don't get along right away. So I've heard that this is really good. I've never read an Emily Henry book, and everybody I've kind of watched or talked to has said you need to read Book Lovers. I just think it's fitting. I just think it sounds really cute. I'm excited to pick this up. I'm so critical of romance novels. I do not like cheesy romance novels. I like them with a little bit more meaning, so I'm excited to see how Emily Henry does with her romance books. So, let y'all know. Haha. Okay, next up I have Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. I have been wanting to read this book for so long. This book is about a woman who responds to a newspaper ad asking for someone to watch a home, like I guess like a Gothic mansion kind of vibe. Yeah, an apartment sitter at the Bartholomew, one of Manhattan's most famous and secretive buildings. So, I mean, who wouldn't? I think the only catch is like you have to like spend every single night there or something like that. I mean, who wants a little mini vacation? You know what I mean? Like, this sounds great. So she ends up taking the job to be the apartment sitter, and then weird things start to happen. I've read a couple of Riley Sager's books. I've heard really good things about this one. The other couple that I've read were so-so, 3-4 star reads, like nothing 5, so I'm hoping that this one is a little different. I like the setup of it a little bit more than the other books. I think this is kind of right up my alley. I love like a Gothic, secretive apartment style setting, so I'm really excited to read this one, and I will let you guys know about that when I'm done. Another TikTok darling, Bride by Allie Hazelwood. I have not read an Allie Hazelwood book yet. Bride is Allie Hazelwood's first supernatural take on a romance. She typically writes romance novels. I think I'm gonna start with this one just because I feel like the premise has me more interested. Our girl here is actually a vampire, and she ends up marriage law type of situation. She has to marry a werewolf to like keep the peace. And I've heard all the things about all the tropes and whatnot that you need to expect from reading this book, but I've also heard it's very good, so I'm very excited to read this. Also, thank you to my very amazing friend Katharine for giving me both of these copies and many other copies, so thank you, Katharine, I appreciate you. This book is called One Italian Summer by Rebecca, I'm tripping myself up with her last name. Rebecca Serle, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, but this book sounds really, really amazing. So this book is about a beautiful mother and daughter relationship. Her mom is her best friend, and sadly she passes away. And so she had this goal to go to Italy with her mom. Unfortunately, now that her mom has passed, she has to take the trip alone. But the entire story revolves around once she steps off onto the shores of Italy, she meets her mom. But her mom is her same age, maybe a little older. She meets her mom at the age of 30. She essentially gets to experience Italy when her mom is her age, almost as like a best friend. So I just think that this sounds really amazing. I do really love my mom, and I just think this is gonna be a really fun, quick summer read. Summer read. Next up, I have It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. I just recently finished It Ends With Us. I had not read that one yet by Colleen Hoover, and I did not think I was a Colleen Hoover girly. The first and only book that I read by Miss Colleen Hoover was Verity, and I believe that one was her first real take at like thriller horror novel with a little bit of spicy romance in there. I think I did rate it pretty high because it wasn't bad, but that was my first introduction to Colleen Hoover. And it's this for Colleen Hoover, she is like a very specific type of mood read author. I'm not obsessed with Colleen Hoover's books. Like, they're just not something that I gravitate toward. Again, though, I wanted to give her another chance with It Ends With Us because all of my friends have said nothing but good things on what they've read in that book, as well as the movies coming out. So I'm like, okay, I need to read the book before I watch the movie. I read it, love the conversation that has been had in the book. I'm glad I read it, like I said, because I want to watch the movie. Now, I do want to continue this because I already purchased it, but also because I think I'd like to see where the relationships go in here. So I'm not going to tell you about what happens in here, but essentially in It Ends With Us, there's a woman named Lily Bloom. I'm going to throw up because she's a florist. Like, I just think that is the tackiest thing, which I know was Colleen's goal because that's written into the book. Anyway, Lily grows up in an abusive household. She watches her mom get abused by her father. So she has nothing but resentment towards men who abuse women. And now, while she was growing up, she ends up saving the life of a young man who moves into an abandoned home because he himself has been kicked out of his abusive household. So he is living on his own, trying to survive in a house with no water, no electricity, anything. So she brings him food, she brings him clothes, they fall in love. Well, what ends up happening is the actual book, It Ends With Us, begins with her meeting somebody named Ryle. And this guy is a neurosurgeon. He's very wealthy, he's a playboy, and she also ends up meeting his sister. His sister ends up working at Lily's flower shop. Well, then the relationship between Lily and Ryle progress. And then sadly, as you can imagine, there does come about some abuse in Lily's relationship with Ryle. And really, it's a beautiful story about Lily understanding what her mom went through, but also trying to figure out how to navigate a very different relationship with her and Ryle and this abuse. So it's a really fascinating topic to explore. And I think Colleen did a good job of, if you want to be done at It Ends With Us, you can, but I am curious to read this. I do think it's a little bit of like a money grab to continue the story, but I'm still interested, you know, like there's a reason why I'm choosing to pick this up instead of donating both copies. Like, I'm actually going to give It Ends With Us to my amazing friend Stephanie to read. So I will let you guys know what I think. Okay, this is Court of the Vampire Queen by Katee Robert. This is a book about a half-human, half-vampire woman named Mina. And Mina's father decides to use her as a political move and offer her as a arranged wife to some kind of ruler. It's not really alluded to on the back, so pardon me because this is not very clear as of like who the guy is, but his name is Malachi, and essentially he's some ruler in this world. And her father decides to offer her as his companion, and she ends up falling in love with not just him, but his two companions and friends. So it's kind of like a why choose romance. My friend is the one who picked this for book club. She started reading it. She said it is very dark, very spicy. So I'm very excited to pick this up and start reading this. The other book that we're reading, which is on my ebook, I'll just let you guys know now, is actually Two Twisted Crowns. That is the second book in the One Dark Window series, and I'm so excited to read that one because One Dark Window was our May pick. That was our book club pick for May, and we all loved it. So we decided to pick this one as the new book for June, but also we said, okay, now everybody has to read Two Twisted Crowns for June as well. So we actually have two. But this is one that I'm really excited for. I did read Neon Gods by Katee Robert. I really did enjoy that one. I didn't keep it, but I do wish I had because I would like to reread it. It was, that book is about a Hades and Persephone retelling, but it's set in the modern world. Very spicy, very fun. I won't lie, a tad bit on the cheesy side, but it was an enjoyable read. I'm not sure if this one came before or after Neon Gods, so I'm hoping that this was after and the writing maybe improved just a little bit, but I mean, they're really no harsh critiques at all. I mean, I'm sure this is going to be just as entertaining, so I'm excited to check this one out. Okay, I only have 3 books left, and the next one I'm going to tell you about is Lone Woman. This is by Victor Lavalle, pardon my mispronunciation. This book sounds so interesting. It's labeled as horror, I believe, but essentially it's about a woman named Adelaide. I think it's Adelaide. I guess I cannot pronounce names to save my life today. Adelaide is in trouble. People in her town in the Midwest think that she has killed her parents. I think there's a bit of a magical realism kind of vibe going on with this because she has this steamer trunk, and every time she opens this trunk, people around her disappear. So in the synopsis, it says that her sin is keeping her as a lone woman on the run, but it also ties into the idea that Adelaide is taking the government's offer to have your own land. It was like the free land movement. I don't know if any of you remember that from history class, but in the early 1900s, the US government was offering people, if you want to claim free land, go ahead, but you have to like tackle this harsh landscape yourself. And so her and from what I understand, there are other women who are dealing with what she's dealing with, trying to tackle the land to own their own land. So I'm excited to see the horror that comes out of this. I'm such a horror lover. So, and I just think that this will be perfect for the summertime. I just love the cover. I love the entire premise. I love a little bit of that magical realism with the promise of a horrific, terrifying story. Oh, it sounds so good. I cannot wait. Next, we have the ever amazing Carley Fortune. This is Meet Me at the Lake. And this, her first book was called Every Summer After, I believe. And I really enjoyed Carley Fortune's writing. I think she does romance very well. I did have an issue with one of the tropes that was used in Every Summer After. Nothing terrible, but it is terrible for some, and I'm one of those people that it's terrible for. So I think I gave it 4 stars as opposed to 5. If it didn't have that trope in it, and I'm not going to say what it is because then that'll spoil the book, but if it didn't have that trope in it, I think I would have given it 5 stars. So I'm really excited to read Meet Me at the Lake. This is not a continuation, but it is set in the same world. So I think I'd just like to read the back for you, just that way I don't get anything wrong. Fern Brookbanks has wasted far too much of her adult life thinking about Will Baxter. She spent just 24 hours in her early 20s with the aggravatingly attractive and idealistic artist, a chance encounter that spiraled into a day-long adventure in the city. The timing was wrong, but their connection was undeniable. They shared every secret, every dream, and made a pact to meet again 1 year later. Fern showed up, Will didn't. At 32, Fern's life doesn't look at all how she once imagined it would. Instead of living in the city, Fern's back home, running her mother's lakeside resort, something she vowed never to do. The place is in disarray. Her ex-boyfriend is the manager, and Fern doesn't know where to begin. She needs a plan, a lifeline, To her surprise, it comes in the form of Will, who arrives 9 years late, suitcase in tow and an offer to help on his lips. Will may be the only person who understands what Fern's going through, but how can she possibly trust this expensive suit-wearing mirage who seems nothing like the young man she met all those years ago? Will is hiding something, and Fern's not sure she wants to know what it is. But 10 years ago, Will Baxter rescued Fern. Can she do the same for him now? Sounds really good. That like missed love opportunity, unrequited love, just like rekindling friends to lovers and then enemies to lovers kind of vibes. Like, I love this. Like, I can't wait to read this. Plus, Meet Me at the Lake. Like, perfect summer read. I actually live right by a lake, so I'm just like so excited to just like go to a beach, you know, the swim beach or something, lay out, read, take a dip in the water, whatever, or you know, on the boat or something like that. Like, this just sounds so fun. Ha ha ha, the golden beautiful book that is The Towering Sky. This is my last and final book on the TBR. I know I'm definitely gonna get to this. This is by Katharine, McGee, and my goodness, am I just obsessed with this series, okay? The first book in the series is called The 1000th Floor, and The 1000th Floor follows 5 teenagers who live in this ginormous 1,000-floor skyscraper. And literally imagine a dystopian, I think it's set in like 2300 or something like that, so hundreds of years in the future. It's dystopian. Every single floor almost has entire cities inside it. The weather is created from fancy science inside the building. So like there are clouds and rain simulations inside each different floor. And each different floor has different poverty levels. So the bottom floors are poverty, and the 1000th floor is a penthouse almost, I mean, so the way that it's built is at the top, it definitely gets smaller structure-wise, but at the very 1000th floor, it's a full-blown fancy penthouse. I'm not talking it's city size, but it's quite large. And 5 of the people that we follow, there is one named Avery. She is the perfect girl. She was actually genetically designed to be perfect. She lives on the 1000th floor. Her father owns the building, all that. And then we follow Eris. Eris lives on like the 900 something floor, and that's one of Avery's best friends. She's going through it with her mom. There's some drama in the family with her mom. She has a backstory there. Then there's Leda, or Leda, I don't know how to pronounce her name. She is also closer to the 1000th floor, 900 something is where she lives. And she is also Avery's best friend, but Leda is obsessed with Avery's brother, Atlas, I think. I have Atlas on my mind because of Colleen Hoover, so I could be wrong. I think it is Atlas though. And Leda really wants to be with him, but he kind of screwed her over and then left, so she got really screwed over. Okay, and then we also follow Rylan Myers, who lives down on the 39th floor and actually becomes the maid to one of the higher up rich boys and their relationship. And last but not least, we follow Watt, who lives on like the 300th floor or something like that. So more on like the poverty-stricken level of the tower, but he is a super genius. He has what's called a nano, it's like some kind of nano computer that's input into his brain. And what's cool about this entire series is all of the technological upgrades and little details that Katharine McGee put into this book. And essentially, the way that the 1000th floor starts is it's almost like a murder mystery. So the first page talks about a woman falling from the 1000th floor, and you're like, who could it be? And essentially you're going through all 5 of these, plus there's more characters, all of their drama and things that they're dealing with, and you're like, who has motive? Who killed who died? You're just like, it's so phenomenally entertaining. The stories are so well intertwined, so thought out. I just think that this series is one of my favorite ever. It's very reminiscent of something I would have read in high school. If you think, like, I think it's Scott Westerfield who wrote Uglies, Pretties, all those. Very Hunger Games style, where you're just like so enthralled in the specific detailing of the world building. It's just so entertaining. I cannot recommend this series enough. So this is the third installment. I'm not going to tell you about the second or third again because I don't want to give anything away, but I read the second one. It got even better, and I'm so excited to finish off the series. Like, I've never been this captivated by a book series in a very long time, so I'm very excited. Yeah, I think I'm done. That's my stack for summer. Obviously, I will be reading many more books. I'm hoping to do like future TBR, you know, check-ins, being like, yeah, finished Lone Woman. I can't wait to tell you all about it. But I just don't know exactly like when my schedule will allow it and my energy, because I'm a busy girl, okay? I got a social life, I got work, I also volunteer. So time frame wise, that's why I said I want to just start with summer TBRs. Hopefully it gets you inspired to read some of these books or create your own summer TBR. You know, so many people I talk to, I tell them, you know, how many books I'm currently reading or have read, and they're like, God, I can't even finish a book in a year. Well, I hope that changes. I hope that every time I come on here and tell you about my book club pick, that you're like, yeah, I want to read that, or I want to read Book Lovers by Emily Henry because it sounds fun, or I want to read One Italian Summer because I love my mama, or something like that, because books are so phenomenal and I just think they teach you really valuable lessons. So, getting off my high horse now. Thank you for watching. I hope that you pick up one or all of these books at some point in your life. Utilize your libraries, utilize Libby, utilize, you know, Kindle Unlimited. There's so many good books out there. I just encourage y'all to read. I hope you learn to like to read like May does. And I will see you in my next TBR. Hopefully it'll be fall or end of summer. Maybe I'll do like an end of summer into fall. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Okay, I'm done now. Bye.